far as people who were showing examples of horses who were just being naughty. And this is, a pretty hot topic for me because I find many horses that come to me because they don't comply with mainstream training approaches or the program or whatever the scenario may be, first and foremost are suffering from pain. Many horses, unfortunately, are in a constant state of pain, and they only have so many ways of telling people that they are having a problem. And because there are so many horses that are in pain, then their behaviors tend to look like other horses' behaviors, and so the behaviors tend to be ignored by the what we'll call experienced horse folks. And then, I laugh because you'll take someone who knows nothing about horses, who has no experience with them, and they'll stop and they'll look at the horse who's swishing its tail and pinning its ears and turning and biting at its side, or concerned every time the rider goes to put a saddle on, and that inexperienced person who hasn't been taught not to see what the horse is doing will go, well, why is the horse doing that? Why is the horse moving around? Or why is he stepping away from the human every time they're getting close to brush them or attack them? And, this is such a huge fundamental basic in the relationship with the horse. And unfortunately, there is this misconception for decades that has gone on about proving oneself and about making the horse comply and about not allowing the horse to get away with something. And, all of this rhetoric that doesn't make any sense, and it's all based on human ego. And I just have such a problem with it. And I had just seen so many videos sent to me. I wasn't looking for them. People were sending them to me, asking my opinions, that I just thought I'd jump on here real quickly. Whether it's your horse or anybody else's horse, or you're just watching a video, if you see signs where the horse's eye is hard and the ears are pinned and it's very specific defensiveness and there's excessive amount of movement, and then watch how the human's interacting with the horse. And if it looks like there is no, I know it sounds funny, but concern for the horse, that it's all about the human and the experience and not at all addressing what the horse is conveying, and that little voice in your head goes, I don't think that horse is comfortable, no matter who the person is, no matter how much experience they may have in telling you, oh no, the horse is just being stubborn, he's just being ornery, he's just being this, he's just taught people to be scared of him, whatever it may be, stop and listen to the voice in your head. Believe what it is that you're thinking, because unfortunately, these horses only have so many ways of asking for help. And, the typical, especially in high performance horses where there's lots of stress and there's lots of physical challenges and issues and problems, there's this idea that like the human has the agenda, and irrelevant of how the horse is feeling, the horse has to comply. And if you stop and think about if you were in pain or feeling sore or, not quite yourself, and then suddenly asked to physically perform or do a mechanical task or work, you'd probably have a pretty tough time doing it, and you'd probably try and slow down or maybe adjust your body or do something different. When a horse goes to do that when they're in pain, guess what the human does? Let's add more pressure, let's make them work harder, let's make them go farther to prove to that horse that they will comply, that we won the battle, we won the scenario. And it is so frustrating that we have been taught to not see. We have been taught to accept that horses just swish their tail, that horses just grind their teeth, that horses just bite at the air, that horses just chomp on the bit, that when we go to saddle, there's a million reels right here on Instagram of showing people trying to walk around the front of their horse and their horse trying to bite them, and everyone's saying naughty horse, as opposed to saying, how come every time you put a brush on that horse's side, he's swinging his head, showing you that there's pain and potential of ulcers or other physical and health issues. Nobody wants to see it. It's all about how it makes the human emotion feel, and it's about us, rather than saying, wait a minute, this isn't the normal sign of a horse. This isn't a relaxed horse. This isn't a soft horse. This horse is showing agitation and frustration and busyness and all of these things that we somehow in our instant gratification and hurry up and task agenda society get so fixated on, we literally lose track of paying attention to the horse. And yet we have this romanticized idea of galloping our horse across the field or soaring over the jump or moving cattle on the ranch or riding high in the mountains or whatever it may be. And all those things are great if our horse is physically feeling good. But if he's not feeling good, what do we have to work with? And if we ignore it every single time we go to interact with the horse, what are we teaching him? We are teaching him to be defensive. We are teaching him to be concerned. We are teaching him to be fearful. We are teaching him to be anticipative. And guess what all those mental and emotional stresses come out as? Physical resistance. And so when all these people say, oh, well, your horse just sticks his head up in the air and he tries to run away, you know, when you're riding him, as opposed to saying, wow, maybe your saddle doesn't fit. And then when we add your weight in the saddle, and then we ask the horse to try and canter on a circle, and he's constantly feeling pain, the only thing he can do is try and run away and avoid the physical discomfort and pain and other things that are going on. You know, and the other thing too, as far as horse health, and I know a lot of people have good intentions, and a lot of people in hindsight slow down and go, wow, you know, if only I had known, you know, so long ago what I was doing or not doing for my horse and all that. That's okay. We can go forward and grow. But one of the things that people do is there tends to be a trend in like health fads. Again, you can go on Instagram, you can go on Reels, watch the latest and greatest health trend. If you do find that your horse or any other horse is in pain, it is not like an instant fix sort of scenario. You have to remember that usually by the time most people are realizing that there is pain as an issue in their horses, this has been going on a long time, and there's often structural issues, and there is, physio issues. There's health issues as far as digestive and how the gut works. There's all these different things going on, and that's one part of the rehabilitation that takes time with slow changes and body working and adjustments. But beyond that, you have to realize there is a mental period where the horse has to learn to let go of what he's been taught if he's no longer feeling pain. But you can think about it. If you've ever had an injury, like a knee injury or a shoulder injury, you learn to compensate. You learn to protect yourself. You learn to adjust your body before you do something. And it gets to the point where you don't even think about how you're protecting yourself before you go to do something. It's so habitual because the pain is constant and it's always there, and you're always worried about feeling worse or getting, more hurt. And the same thing goes for our horses. So a lot of times in these rehabilitation programs, people are trying to do good, and they look at, physically structure wise, helping that horse, but they don't realize how long it takes to help that horse mentally realize he's not going to have the same physically painful experience. So remember, there's twofold in the rehabilitation. It's not just, oh, my saddle didn't fit for 3 years and I finally noticed and I had the chiropractor out 3 times and now we're good to go. You have to realize how early the mental anticipation and buildup happens if you have continuously presented scenarios that have created pain in your horse or discomfort in your horse or any of these different things that all of these 4 horses, experience. So anyways, it's early, it's morning, but I woke up to a barrage of emails and I just had to jump on here. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on this, because this is a topic that's so sensitive to me, because honestly, 99% of the horses that come here, which of course they come here after all the mainstream ways of working and training and programs quit working, they're in pain. They're all in pain. So many horses are in pain, whether it's the wild Mustangs that are rounded up and held in unnatural holding pens, whether it's the high performance international jumpers and dressage horses, whether it's the horses who've just been ridden in the mountains their whole life. Doesn't matter where the horse, doesn't matter the breed, doesn't matter the age. So many horses are in pain. The other day I had a horse who I was working with the owner before they took him home, talking about the horse's jaw and how, he had the inability to actually open his jaw. Literally, he could not open his jaw to yawn. And, here was an experienced horsewoman who went, oh my gosh, I never even thought about how he was opening his jaw, if he could open his jaw. These are things that we don't even think about. I never noticed my horse's nostrils were flared or not flared, or holding tension or not holding tension, or, all these different signs. And, you don't know what you don't know, and that's okay. But as soon as you hear pushback from humans in the horse world that are saying things like, oh, they just do that, that's just normal, oh, he's just, upset about something, oh, he just always paces or paws, he just always bites at the stall door, he just always, moves away when you pick up the saddle. These are all red flag indicators, and we have to slow down. Even if you don't have the experience to understand why it is happening, you have to believe that it's present. And then it is your job, it is your responsibility to educate yourself. And that may mean finding someone outside your current world of influencers or instructors or trainers or blogs or whatever it is, wherever you're getting your information, of trying to expand your understanding of what is happening that is causing pain in these horses, and then what we have to do in order to help them recover for it. The amazing thing with horses is they can recover. They can come back from these horrific places. I've had horses come in and rehabilitate from falling out of horse trailers, from falling down cliffs, from crashing through jumps, and having all these like just mind-blowing dramatic scenarios where you would just think there's no way that that horse should ever let a human near it, that should ever let a human on it. And it's really incredible how many of them really can recover. But it is a journey, and it is a journey where often you don't know where that journey is going. And we have to then, as we stand at the fork in the roads, go, what is this about? Is this about me and what I want? Or is this about helping my horse? And everyone has to make their own decisions. But you need to know, whatever you decide, that horses don't randomly do anything. There is no random moment ever. So if anyone that you're around is coming back and telling you, oh yeah, he just happened to do this, oh yeah, he just happened to do that, then they are masking what is really going on. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they honestly believe what they're telling you. It doesn't matter. Horses are not random. Humans live in the gray area. We can't make up our mind. We can't decide what we want. We're not aware of our circumstances. Our mind is in 50 million directions. We're trying to multitask. We're always distracted by other things. We're imposing an urgency on having to get things done because that's what society says. There's all this stuff going on inside of us, a busyness and a chaos that doesn't allow us to get honest and clear in what is happening. With horses, they live in the black and white. So if they're expressing something, that is really what they are experiencing. This is not out of like the horse being able to psych you out or all of these bizarre things that, I call it the story that people have come up with for years to justify and explain why a horse is acting some way. They come up with all of these like long-winded stories as opposed to just saying, in this moment right now, this horse is expressing this behavior, which is a reflection of his pain. Okay, time out. We need to stop right here, and we need to pinpoint where the initial, not just the symptomatic, because remember, a lot of the pain is that you see like in the back often will start in the stifle and the hocks. It's all connected. So we need to break it down and go, okay, where is the root cause of this pain? What is the root cause of this pain? And how do we address it, again, physically and then mentally? And then notice the difference in your horse's attitude. Notice the difference in his eating habits. Notice the difference in how he can socialize in the herd. Notice his difference in how he can focus when you're working with him and not feel like he has ADD and his brain's bouncing all over the place. There's all this trickle-down positive effect that can happen, that can fix so many problems that people think they have with their horse that really is a symptom. So anyways, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys are having a great